It's Clemson week. Let's go. Lucky Lefty Podcast. I'm your boy, Shaun Davis at SD2 Mics, the original Luck Left himself, Malik Zaire 8. We are brought to you and featuring Onora Whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure that you drink
responsibly.
You see my eyes left? A little bit more sparkle.
Just a little bit.
A little bit more sparkle, dude. The influenza tried to grab me. I had to hit him with the Aldrich estimate.
That Aldrich estimate.
Yeah, straight to the face. I'm feeling much better. Hey. Woo! Thursday is like when the emotions get really high.
They get really high and they start.
Yeah, and Friday's like a mix of anxiety and excitement. And then Saturday, once again, we talked about this last week. The early start, the 11 o'clock start is the worst. The 2:30, 3 o'clock start is perfect. At prime time start, dude, it's anxiety all day long. All day long. Clemson, Dabo Sweeney, DJ Uwagalele, Cade Klubnik, and the Tigers invade Notre Dame Stadium. Prime time, Saturday night. Marcus Freeman, Michael Mayer. It's time to make things happen, baby. Let's go. Let's go. LL Nation. Irish football fans. Even if you're a Clemson football fan, tapping in. Yo, you have to be excited. This has turned into one of the low-key rivalries.
A low-key rivalry?
It's a low-key rivalry. Notre Dame broke through. If they can break through again this year,
it might be something to talk about.
See, that's where I was headed. 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 You know me, I'm stubborn. I always say, if a certain player was there in the rain in 2016, things go differently. That's all I'm going to say. Might not be Deshaun Watson facing Alabama in a championship game.
Definitely. History will be different.
That's absolutely.
College football history changed that year.
The college football gods didn't think it should go down that way. And that's cool. That's cool. Man, I'm so excited about this game. But we're going to switch gears a little bit, right? Because we were geared up to dig into the numbers. We do that, talk about Clemson and what they do well, how they match up against Notre Dame. But there was something that you saw that really bothered you. So we're going to get to that. But we're going to start the show with Marcus Freeman. And the theme of the show today is, where are we going? Where are we going as a program and as a team this year? Where are we going? And the LL question of the day, what are you happy about up to this point? What are you happy about with this team in this season up to this point? LL question of the day. Hit us up in the chat. Let us know what you think. Even if you hit us up with the super chat, greatly appreciate it. We'll get to it towards the end of the show. So, Marcus Freeman, we waited to really dig into this, and this is a perfect time. When you hit me up this morning, you said, yo, I had to talk about this. I said, yo, I got the perfect clip from Marcus Freeman when he met with the media on Monday. Perfect clip to break down what we're going to talk about. This game, how important it is to the season to continue the momentum. Winners of 5 out of 6 after starting 0-2 on the season. Disappointing losses at home to Marshall, Stanford, not making the initial CFP rankings. Fan base being upset about that, feeling like Notre Dame had a right, just as much right, to be there over Texas, who's another 3-loss team. With all of that being said, Small picture, big picture. How important is a victory on Saturday night, Marcus Freeman?
Victories, they do two things for you, really. One, they get you a great feeling, and anybody in this room that's been victorious, no matter what you've done, you get a feeling, an emotional feeling of being victorious. The other thing it builds confidence. Those two things are important. And that's the chase that we all have, is to chase that feeling of being victorious, but also that confidence, and that's what losing sometimes does, is it takes away confidence, right? You obviously don't get the feeling, but you take away confidence. But there's a lot of lessons you learn from failures, and that's what I told our team. The challenge is to, within a win, right? We know we're going to get that great feeling of being victorious. You're going to gain confidence, but, can you take some of those lessons that you learn from failures and the ability to be selfless, the ability to be urgent in fixing our mistakes, the ability to be really intentional in our work. All those things really come to fruition when you lose, right? And so the challenge for us is to continue to be able to have victories and to, get that reward, but also continue to have that sense of urgency that you have during the failures, And so what would a win like this do for our program? It's going to continue to help us gain confidence in what we're doing, who we are. But it also, man, it's that emotional feeling that you get when you're victorious, man. There's no better feeling in the world.
Would it provide you any sort of reassurance that what you're trying to build is working, given how good they are?
Yeah, it's confidence, right? And reassurance, confidence, all the same word, right? In that, it's I have a belief in what we're doing. I think what I've learned in these 8 games is that it's never as you plan, right? Is that you have those bumps in the road that you have to kind of figure out and really learn as a leader. Okay, this is what you thought you should do. Now, how do you adjust, right? Not just, I said this after the game, not just trust the process. How do you fix it, right, to get those results that you want? And so, would a win versus Clemson help me build confidence in the things we do? Absolutely. That's what victories do.
Left, small picture, big picture. What is a win? We talked about it. A win, you might form a rivalry with Clemson. What does it mean for Notre Dame? Short term, long term.
Short term, it shows what Marcus Freeman and the installation of what he's doing into a program is really working. I think the Marshall and Ohio State game threw things off. Stanford obviously threw things off. But to win a game like Clemson comes from having a great program. Great programs beat great teams. If we go out there and get embarrassed, not only do we already know there's issues that we have, but to get embarrassed is not having a program or a vision of what you want to do or a belief that the team has in what you want to do. So I do think this game is going to be close because there's a belief, like Marcus Freeman said, in what they're doing. They have confidence in what they're building and what they're gaining speed on, have confidence winning in a away game that's a tough matchup in a tough environment. So going into this, it's just like all our big games of the year. It's going to be straightforward, talent for talent. Who's going to make the plays that's going to get us over the top? And it's only going to be 2 or 3 or 4 plays. There's not many plays that's going to change the dynamic part of the game because it's going to be close. It's going to be close. So I do think that somebody in that offensive side has got to step up. But what Marcus Freeman is bringing is the chance to win in big games, and the belief to win in big games, which is something that I think we falsely had before. Like I thought we, getting there and we was like, okay, we're there. But I don't think we in the locker room was like, man, we about to go beat Trevor Lawrence. I think in the locker room, we believe we can go beat them no matter who they have. So that's the difference.
See, you were part of that locker room, and you've been in some big games. A lot of people have made the comparison of this game being similar to Florida State 14. And I would push back a little bit because I was like, it's different circumstances, different level of confidence from a team standpoint. Because that team in 14, this was before you guys kind of fell off the cliff. Like, you guys were really peaking at that point, going into Tallahassee to face Jameis Winston in that Florida State squad. It's very interesting to find a comp for where Notre Dame probably was under the previous regime, similar to what Notre Dame is trying to do right now. But I understand what they were trying to say. This is probably peak confidence for this Notre Dame team right now at this point. They're probably more confident than they have been all year.
Yeah, they're definitely more confident than they've probably been all year, just because of how it's been working out for them coming after a tough loss, that they can bounce back.
Yeah.
And having that bounce back gives the biggest confidence in the team, because it's like we can knock down and get ourselves up against a tougher opponent. That's the edge we need going into a game like that. So maybe losing to Stanford was positive in that sense, because this wouldn't be a devastating loss, considering we've already had devastating losses. So with nothing to lose and everything to gain, and being able to know that we can bounce back even stronger after losses against better teams, it's a good mental concoction going into a game where we usually lose the mental edge, considering of the dominance Clemson has and what Dabo and what Dabo brings himself. I think personality-wise, they both bring energy to a room, Marcus Freeman and Dabo Swinney. I think Dabo won in personality over Coach Kelly, which kind of bled into the media, which bled into just the effect of the game. I think players rallied behind Dabo more than they did Kelly. And that's kind of what you need in a big game like this. But I do think those kids are going to run through a wall for Marcus Freeman, like those kids will run through a wall for Dabo. That's mixed for some good football on the field on Saturday.
And we talk about how a win could kind of start a rivalry with Clemson. The rivalry has already begun in the recruiting lane. Up to 60 recruits now, reportedly going to be there. A lot of 2024 kids. Look, Notre Dame has battled for 23 kids. Ronan Hannafin eventually ended up going to Clemson over Notre Dame after being a Notre Dame wing for a long time. You have Khalil Barnes, a Georgia athlete. It's Clemson, Notre Dame. He'll be in the building on Saturday night. Clemson is the team that you chase if you're Notre Dame. You can have grandeur of chasing Alabama and Georgia, but Notre Dame's never going to be able to catch Alabama and Georgia when it comes to the accumulation of 5 stars or top 4 stars. Just not. They might be a step behind Ohio State and what they're able to do. But Clemson, who was able to build their program with classes in the teens before jumping into the top 5, because they were able to get the dudes in one particular room. And it immediately closed the gap on the field. Not on paper, but it immediately closed the gap on the field. Goes back to something Marcus Freeman said this past week, which is why the theme of today's show is, where are we going? Marcus Freeman said it. He said, we are the team that we need to be today. But we're not the team that we're going to be. That's the first time I was like, he gets it. Okay, he gets it. Because, you worry because he had given you these little bits and pieces, these crumbs of what he wanted the program to be, right? I want to have physical offensive line play, physical defensive line play. I want to be able to run the ball. Notre Dame fans were like, man, that's what we do. We run the ball, right? Michael Mayer is our best receiver. We always have tight ends. What was playing out might have seemed like, okay, we're going to get the same thing over and over again. But when he said that this past week, we're the team we have to be now. Well, we're not the team that we're going to be. Lets me know that he understands where the game is going and where this program needs to be and what he needs to solve, not only on the field, but in recruiting. And I'll say this before I turn it over to you, Lev. I'll give Brian Kelly credit for this. Brian Kelly had the ability of saving his teams from themselves. And what I mean by that is, and you have to tip your cap, from a coaching standpoint in game, there were certain decisions that he made that allowed him to avoid a loss to Toledo at home, that allowed him to avoid a loss to Virginia Tech on the road. And it's those small things that came from his experience that allowed him to make the resume look better than what was really being put out there on a consistent basis. Marcus Freeman, with his lack of inexperience early on in the Marshall game and in the Stanford game, had one or two decisions, whether it's something as simple as don't try to prove how tough you are and go for it on 4th and 2. Kick the field goal.
Right.
Take the points. Because the win is far more important right now than trying to prove that you're the tougher, bigger team when your team is not ready to enforce that up front quite yet. That's experience. That's just experience. And he probably could have gotten away with it, just like Brian Kelly did if he had the experience. But I think him trusting his team and going through the failure might end up having a benefit long term when it comes to receiving that trust from your players. Because if they don't get it done, they still know coach believes in us. Like, that's on us. We should have been able to do that. And those are just small things that we're starting to see with Marcus Freeman. He's growing as a head coach. I think you're going to see some moves. We saw moves in game against Syracuse. Play was coming in. They were about to change personnel. They had Syracuse on the run. They were tired on the 2-yard line. Marcus Freeman told them, no. Keep it going. He's starting to get acclimated to what it means to be an in-game head coach and make those decisions. And we're talking about what am I happy about? That's what I'm happy about. I'm happy about the development of Marcus Freeman that we've been able to watch as a head coach. But it's one thing that he must prove moving forward. And it triggered you because you sent me this picture yesterday. Julian Saban, who had an offer from Notre Dame, was interested in Notre Dame, had conversations with Notre Dame, had been to the campus. Julian Saban committed to Alabama. Left, you sent me this picture. Alabama's quarterback room next year. Jalen, now mind you, they had a top 10 pick going to the NFL at the quarterback position, right? They're losing the top 10 pick. Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, who you are very high on, Eli Holston, Dylan Lonergan, and Julian Saban. And you sent me that. And what were your words, Lev?
My words were, let me quote them. Let me quote these. I said, now this is a QB room, unquote. And what I like about it is that you got a little bit of everything. But more importantly, what you do have is there's an expectation for that room, and they continue to fill that room with the expectation. There's a greatness in that quarterback room at Alabama, and they're only refilling it with the expected great quarterbacks in the classes that they're recruiting, which means that they're giving great effort to not let the top guys not go to the top school. This is no Cinderella story. They wasn't about to let Julian Sain just be a 5-star guy and go to Pittsburgh or go to some lower tier Division I school. If you 5-star, they say you the best, you going to Alabama. That's it. Expectation field. Bryce Young, we're not gonna let you go to USC. You number one quarterback in the, you come into Bama. That's what they do. And that's a quarterback room that fits the expectation of a program. You look at our quarterback room, what would you think of that? Who are all these guys?
Well,
Who are all these walk-ons?
what Marcus Freeman said, we are the team we need to be today. Now. But we're not the team that we're going to be. I think he understands what you're saying, Left. He knows. It was amazing that Nick Saban and his genius made the transition. Nick Saban was all about running backs. Give me a 3-star quarterback game manager. Running backs, wide receivers, offensive line, and we're going to run this ball 40 times a game and hit you with some deep passes. And all of a sudden he realized, you know what? My defenses aren't as successful as they used to be. Let me go get some quarterbacks because the game is changing.
Yeah.
So you look at the top 4 teams and look at the quarterbacks. And it's very easy to understand why they're there, right? You could talk about Stetson Bennett, but Stetson Bennett has so much experience. He's a really good college quarterback. He's a really good college quarterback, a national championship college quarterback. Hendon Hooker, tons of experience, really good college quarterback. C.J. Stroud, number 1 pick in the draft.
The number 1 pick.
You know what I'm saying? Raiola, waiting in the wings with Kyle McCord. Look at that quarterback room at Ohio State. Look at the quarterback room in Tennessee, right? They have Joe Milton as a backup, right? Who's a 5-star and went to Michigan and transferred. And then they got Nico Iamaleava waiting, coming in. I mean, look, that's the way of the world right now in college football, Left. That room it's always been important, but that room is the most important room that you have to get right.
And why is Alabama and why is Tennessee doing so well? The quarterback room is doing well. The group, not just one guy, the group. The group is sustainable. The group can win games and be productive.
Yeah.
And if that room is good, the team is good because those guys are getting reps, helping the other guys on the team. Alabama's not playing better quarterbacks in practice throughout the whole season. Their quarterback room is giving them the best quarterback play they're going to see all season. Every year. And it's the 1 or 2 outlier quarterbacks that's better than that room that beats that team. Alabama trains against the best quarterback play all year. So it takes a more special quarterback than Bryce, Hendon Hooker this year, to be the team that gets the best play in practice every week. What is Notre Dame's defense getting against Drew Pine every week? Below the standard of championship quarterback play.
So do you think that impacts the Notre Dame secondary on Saturdays?
I mean, look at how they make everybody else's quarterbacks look like Peyton Manning. Because they go against Drew Lock every week in practice.
Drew Pine, man.
No, like Drew Lock.
I know. I caught what you were trying to do. You're not slick, bro. You're not slick.
So it's just like, no wonder why Stanford's guy looks good. He's better than our guy in practice. No wonder why Cal's guy is looking good. He's better than our guys in practice. No wonder why Marshall's guy was good. He was better than our guys in practice. No wonder why C.J. Stroud tore us up late. C.J. Stroud's better than our guy late. So the defense is just like seeing something new every week. That's better than what they're seeing in practice. So you're playing catch up. They're like, oh shoot, I gotta back up. I ain't used to deep passes like this in practice. I gotta run a little faster. I can't give the same bait looks because he got a strong arm. Like I can't just keep jumping these 5 and outs because he nickel and diming people to death. So, it just changes the dynamic going into a game. It's almost like what are we gonna get from this guy? Now in Alabama, they used to back shoulders, perfect balls, and threading the needle, throws away from the D. They're getting good practice. So what happens when they go into the game? Alabama's DBs are lock up, except when they go against a better quarterback than that room.
Yeah. Except when they go against Shaun, Trevor,
Johnny Manziel,
Joe Burrow,
Chad Kelly, Joe Burrow, Jameis Winston.
And you think about the quarterbacks that have beaten Alabama, they are,
better than the room.
They are,
or at least can hang.
Quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not threatening their defense unless our quarterback is threatening our own defense.
So basically, Nick Saban's quarterback recruitment serves 2 purposes. It gives me a stockpile of really good quarterbacks, and then I keep the good quarterbacks that can beat me from you.
Yeah, it's like I got nukes. I got a bunch of nukes just in case, so y'all can't have them. And then if y'all get crazy, I got something for you. I'm going to just roll out of Bryce, roll out of Tua, roll out of Jalen, roll out of Mac Jones. Y'all ain't had enough? Man, do I have to show you the little Jalen Milrose bomb I got too? Y'all ain't had enough? What we rolling out? Little pew, 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 pew. Little 22 shooters.
You stupid. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Brought to you by Onora Whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com, the premium American whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com. Shortly, we will hear from Isaiah Foskey and Jared Patterson. But let's get to some of these comments. I got Milton Fan 15 says Malik ran across a highlight YouTube video, and man, you were best ND QB has had the last 20 years, in my opinion. I'm sure Left appreciates the love.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. I'm telling you, man, what could have been, should have been, but I'm glad where we are today.
Kirk Roberts, I'm loving that ND defensive line. Asked the question of the day, what are you loving about this team in this season? Kirk says the defensive line. Milton Fan said he's happy with recruiting, continued growth, and what appears to be a culture change. I got Grant Johnson. I'm happy that the team has gotten up for big games thus far. That's true. Disappointing to lose games. You should win. But when you get up for the big games, the lesser games can be fixed in the future. Keith Erickson, happy with MF as a man and coaching philosophy, same vein, believing we will beat top 4 programs. Joe Easton, I'm happy with the upgrade in coaching. I'm happy with recruiting. I'm happy with just about everything except for personnel use and quarterback play. All right. We'll see. I'm happy with our resolve, how we've been able to rally and rep Notre Dame in ND Jersey. I'm happy with our student athletes and how they've represented ND. Happy with holding on to recruits. All right, Left. What are you happy with?
I'm happy with our consistency on defense to keep us in games. I'm happy with the coaching staff staying together and getting better as a unit each and every week, being able to game plan against different varieties of teams each and every week. We're not going against a conference. So I do believe that's harder on the coaching staff, preparing for different styles and top guys every week. So to see Marcus Freeman being steady is really good. I really love the fact that Marcus Freeman is still holding his poker face, man. He ain't broke down and he ain't blew up too much yet. He's still been able to keep the steady messaging, which I think keeps the team bought in and gets us steadily focused for those games that we have week in and week out. There's no feeling sorry for ourselves on the team, which I appreciate, and I really feel that the seniors is because of the seniors, like Houston Griffin and JD Bertrand, who keep it real. They know what's in front of them. They know what they need to do when they don't achieve what they're trying to do, and it's not a woe is me attitude. So I think that we can be proud and hang our hat on that, and the fact that we have some resolve. We can lose a crazy ass game a couple times, 3-4 times, and still be able to stay in each and every game the next week, no matter who it is. And the only thing I'm not grateful for right now is the fact that we play to the level of whoever we're playing. It don't matter if it's the worst team or the first team. We gonna play to whatever they bring into the stage.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it seems that way. It does seem that way.
But with that, we always gonna be in it. So I'm grateful for that too. And then, of course, without one of the most important pieces to every ND season the last 10 years, that offensive line. The trench warfare, especially the offensive line, gives us a fighting chance. It's just been the spare parts has been the key to what we've been missing.
Adam Ziliak, I'm loving the DBs and how they've developed. That's been something that even you spoke about prior to the season. And
that took some years now.
And
had some ebbs and flows, some flashes, but never a unit consistency.
Unit. Because we had like
a bunch of just like, okay, we can make a presence, but we ain't holding nothing down, So, you got your Cole Lukes, your Julian Loves out there, your Kavaris, your Bennett's. We had some guys, but as a unit on the paper and the stat sheet, not what we probably would have wanted. But it's crazy how that works because we had a lot of guys in that secondary go to the league. Matthias Farley, Elijah Shoemate. We had some guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of those guys are getting looks in the NFL, if not on
Troy
the NFL.
Pride, even that class
for him to get healthy.
Even that class with Dante Vaughn in 2016, we had Troy, Dante, Jalen, Julian, all those guys went to the league, but still as a unit, it was like head scratching. Like, how are we giving up these plays? So individually they're great. As a unit, I think we're figuring it out.
Yeah. Shout out to Mike Mickens and Coach O'Leary getting the job done, developing guys, and also setting up the 23 class with Adon Schuler and Peyton Bowen, who will both be in the building on Saturday night. The future at the safety position in the future. Christian Gray will be there also on Saturday night. The future in that defensive backfield is bright. Plenty of speed, plenty of athleticism, length, playmaking ability. Like you said, it's a lot big picture to feel good about as Notre Dame sits at 5-3, getting ready to face Clemson as they come into Notre Dame Stadium on Saturday night. Look, man, Isaiah Foskey, safe to say he got off to a slow start, right? Most would agree with that. And he was asked about what's the difference recently, what's changed. And listen to his answer because I thought it was very interesting.
My mindset, like working after practice and not just working on the run game part of it, but working on pass rush. But I feel like going into the season, everyone was like knocking me off for my run blocking or run defending. So I feel like I was really working on run defending throughout the season. And then once I finally worked on just pass rush, that's when everything started clicking and everything started going way to win.
So
What?
if I'm hearing him correctly,
What?
he was so caught up
No, I'm not
in
buying
run
that.
defending.
No. Throw that in the trash. Throw it in. No.
What you call it, cap?
I call it cap, major cap.
Okay,
Cap.
I'll push back, but go ahead. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about it.
How do you know about yourself as a player, having the sacks that you had and going for the sacks that you had the year before, knowing that that's going to get you the money, knowing that you could have left off of that, knowing that that contributed to getting close to a national championship, and you telling me you coming back to not work on that? You telling me you coming back to not get more than the sacks that you had last year? So you just remembered that, oh, I'm a sack artist. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Marcus Freeman didn't say, hey, after that 14 sacks, come back and have less sacks next year and work on run stopping. What? Or you're trying to throw that excuse out there. Oh, man, I was so focused on trying to work my whole game around my overall game that I making excuses for playing bad. No. I remember the Marshall game, seeing a one-on-one where you're on the ground and the guy's on top of you. I remember that. You wasn't working on no run then. So don't do that, Isaiah Fowlsky. Just be like, look, I wanted to have better numbers starting off the year. It didn't happen. But damn it, Clemson game, you're going to see why I came back. That's what I want to hear. Don't be telling me what you got caught up in. You the best player on the team on defense. How did the best player on the team get caught up in somebody writing something about their opinion of your game? Stick to your strengths. Your strengths is being a sack artist. You don't lessen you being a sack artist because you want to work on something. That don't make no sense. You're a great player. And these are one-on-ones you're getting. This ain't like you just getting triple teamed every game. Aaron Donald special, so no, I'm not taking that.
You're not having it, huh, Left?
No, I'm not having it. Because what we say before the season, 20 sacks, big production.
Well, I differ. I actually said I'm cool with getting 10 from Riley Mills because I felt like it would be more impactful.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
I was like, if we get double digits from Riley Mills and Foskey is just in that 12 to 14 range, now we're cooking with grease. And Riley Mills has played really good. But yeah, the lack of impact early in the season from Isaiah Foskey was noticeable. And you point out he got dominated against Ohio State. Marshall game, he struggled with the length and size of those tackles. But I think I'm not saying you're absolutely right in what you said. My thing is, I do think he got caught up. I think he wanted to come back and win, but I do think he got caught up and gave you a little peek into the fact that if they had given him a different report from the draft, he was gone. But because he didn't get the report that he wanted, he decided to come back, and he was so focused on that, then that's what he worked on. He wanted to be a more complete player on the edge instead of just doing what, like, dude, this is what caught their attention. Go do that.
Right. Yes, you're going to develop your run and all that. That comes with fit. That comes with scheme. That comes with how they put you in the defense.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff that, I don't think we're shaping the defense around him specifically. I think the defense is set for him to do what he's been doing to get attention in the first place.
Yeah.
Which is get sacks.
And now it just seems like he is like, okay, I'm going to get the quarterback.
But think about the games they played. The first game, I'm thinking, if I get 3 sacks against C.J. Stroud, send me to New York. What are we talking about? I'm not thinking nothing about no Travion Henry. I'm thinking get the number 1 draft quarterback or number 2.
Right.
I'm setting off the game 3 picks on the first season. So I don't understand when the run started coming into effect. When did the run come into effect against CJ Stroud? Or what about when Marshall's guy was 18 for 18 for like 300 yards the next week? Or what about Cal when you got Jake Plummer running for hundreds of yards, throwing for all type, keeping them in the game all day? When was the run ever and then we giving up run to second stringers?
That's the
So
most frustrating
I don't
thing.
know where your narrative fits in the season. Now I don't even think you was talking about yourself. Who was you talking about? What game were you focused on the run so far? Not Drake May. I'm thinking it's Drake May. I'm trying to get some sacks on Drake May. I'm trying to get some sacks on CJ Stroud. I
Yeah.
need to get some sacks on them Marshall and them Cal players going crazy. So I don't know. UNLV or BYU, you was think I'm not even thinking. I'm thinking I'm with some sacks against BYU's quarterback. He's pretty good. So when UNLV, they didn't even run that much, did they? I didn't catch it because it was Peacock, but
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know, Polsky. I think that's a bad take. Because there's no
Yeah.
excuse for that.
He didn't bring his milkshake to the yard, dude.
Oh no. Because I'm like, what are you talking about, run game?
That's what brought all the scouts to Notre Dame to watch him play.
Yeah. Like they're like, look, you sacked the guy. The game is about sacking the guy. We got a bunch of guys that can't get sacked. We need to bring him on the ground. You got the length, the speed, the height. And you talking about stopping a run.
So we just watched a player go number 2 in the draft, literally, last year, who couldn't set the edge at all in the run game.
And can't do it now. That's why they
Can't
defense
do
is
it now.
terrible.
He literally got body slammed with one arm by an offensive tackle last week. One arm. One.
Sweet, too.
Just slammed him. Just one arm. I've never seen it. I've never seen an NFL defensive end pass rush get stunned and then just slam with one arm.
Yeah.
Number 2 overall pick in the draft.
Oh, he's looking the other way. He checking some danger on the other side, handling you on one hand.
Bro. And this man was worried about stopping the run.
Yeah. See, you went in with, I'm sure Marcus Freeman is not agreeing with that. He was like, that's what you thought I brought you back for?
Right. That was not the meeting we had, bro.
Yeah, it's not that is not what we talked about in the exit meeting at all.
When I convinced you to come back, that is not the conversation we had. I told you I needed 15 sacks.
And I need CJ Stroud on the ground first game. That was the
First
conversation.
game.
That was a conversation. I didn't say not one thing about the run. I said, we're going to get our linebackers better. But I'm trying to take you less from dropping in the flat to rushing the quarterback, get a sack.
Dude, I don't get it. Oh, man.
I'm glad he figured it out now that in this game, yes, I need some sacks.
Bro. Yeah, I had to be petty, bro. You know me, I gotta be petty. This dude worried about stopping the run, and we got number 2 overall picks in an NFL draft, like flat out making it to the league. But they can rush the passer. That's what they do. And this dude is getting one hand. Get your little tail out of here. Where you going? Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah. That is terrible. Look at that. Look at that. He said, let me put you on my weak shoulder, man. Let me go ahead while I'm checking for other danger. While I'm checking for other danger, let me just put you on my shoulder like my son or something.
Oh, man.
My goodness.
Man, do you.
Do you, man.
Do you. Foskey. This Clemson offensive line is not. You face better this year.
They paying $20 million to that kid doing that.
Yes, they took him number 2 overall. Yes,
And that's why Detroit is Detroit.
Left. We tried to tell them.
Oh, we tried to.
We tried to tell them, Left.
We tried to tell them.
We tried to tell them.
I'm just
They didn't
convinced
wanna listen.
sometimes, you know,
They didn't want to
it's written
listen.
to steal some money. They just be stealing money, man. Stealing.
You know, man. You got Jared Goff at quarterback, and you taking Aiden Hudson at number 2. Lucky Lefty podcast.
They tanking for Victor Wembanyama or something.
So the moral of the story is be happy, right? 6-3, we asked the question today. What are you happy about? It's always something to be happy about. Might be some storm clouds, some stormy and rainy days. Heck, in Chicago right now, it's 65 left. But I know what January and February is bringing.
You know what's coming.
I know what's coming. I'm still going to find a way to be happy.
That's
Throw on my Timbs, throw on my polo boots.
Until you're
live
ready
life.
to become that snowbird and fly on out here.
That comes every spring. You already know that. You know that's happening.
That's
I
right.
definitely will be out there in the spring. But either way, be happy. Isaiah Foskey, I don't mean listening to the scouts. Be happy with who you are as a player. And do you. Do what you do best.
And that's so disingenuous listening to the scouts. What's the player's number one thing? I don't listen to the haters. I don't listen to the haters. I don't listen to social media. I'm staying focused on week to week. When do you have time to even be reading this stuff, Foskey? You at Notre Dame. I know you got some homework. You know.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Foskey, he may have graduated. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. He may have. But that's neither here nor there.
Go ahead and get you a double degree.
That's neither here nor there.
Just rack up in paperwork, man. You know.
Be you, man. You know why? And I say this. You have 2 boys, so you might not experience this. Coaching is like parenting, right? And there's only so much you can protect your team from.
Yeah.
Some things that your team is going to have to learn on their own. The players are to buy in, they're going to have to learn the hard lessons on the field. And I think that's what Notre Dame and this locker room, this coaching staff, I think they're learning some hard lessons. And unfortunately, they had to take a couple of L's. You know, if you ever have a daughter left, you can't protect her from her first heartbreak, bro. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't care how overprotected you try to be. It's going to happen, dude.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen, bro. There ain't nothing you can do about it, man. Just teach, love, and be a dad. But it's happening. It's happening without your permission. And it's the same thing, right? Things that they're going through with the change in philosophy, change in vision. You know, some of the things are going to happen. You know, could the lessons have been learned at 7-1? Yeah. Could some of the lessons have been learned at 6-2? Probably. But here we are. Here we are, man. And the program's in a really good space, man. It's in a really good space. Really good space. Don't like being 5-3. Definitely don't like losing to Stanford or Marshall. But I'm not about to overreact either and say, yeah, we definitely deserve to be in the top 25. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
We've
had some bad losses.
Yes. We
you.
are where we are. But I tell you one thing, we don't have to worry about that top 25. We beat Clemson. We're definitely in the top 25.
You probably jumped to 15 or something crazy.
Probably will jump to fit. Wait a minute. Hold on now. still have to keep them behind Illinois. Dude. We got to keep them. Don't disrespect my
Wait a
line
minute.
out like that,
Do
bro.
you think Illinois can hold on to it? That's the question. This is getting into the nitty gritty of their schedule right now.
Well, not really. They play Michigan State this week, dude. The way Michigan State is going through this week, it'll kill Michigan State. I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
They play Michigan is the big game for them left. They play Michigan.
That's right.
They played Northwestern the last game of the season, bro.
Mm.
And I think they played Purdue before they played Michigan.
They can win now. They can do something.
But I'm just saying, come on, man. Don't just jump Illinois like that. 3 losses to 1 loss. And I know it's the big, and we trash the Big Ten West. We talk about the Big Ten West all the time. Like it's awful. It's awful. The fact in his second year that Brett Bielema can be in first place in the Big Ten West, that tells you everything you need to know.
They off.
Everything. He just got there. He literally just got there. He just got there. Tells you everything you need to know about the Big Ten West. But somehow, some way, Big Ten teams and fan bases want to continue to tell us that we will have a tough time in the Big Ten. Really?
Really?
Word?
They serious though.
Y'all really want us to play that Big Ten schedule? They do know that, man, you might as well just if Notre Dame was in the Big Ten, you might as well just make your reservations in Indianapolis every December, dog.
Mm.
Like Notre Dame's gonna be in the Big Ten championship game like 7 out of 10 years.
Yeah. Constantly. It's just a matter of, it would literally be a matter of beating Ohio State. That's it.
That's it. That's it. Michigan fans got us the last time we played. Yeah, we understand. But come on, man.
We've embarrassed y'all way more.
Way more. And literally, Michigan just became relevant. Like, just became relevant in the last year or so. That's the amazing thing about it. Let's hear from JP. Injured, wasn't able to play against Ohio State, was still suffering against Marshall, and is just now really getting back to where he's playing at 100% and really has played the best 2 games that we've seen from him in the last 2 matchups against UNLV and Syracuse. And he talked about the challenge of facing this Clemson defensive line and the challenge of this game and how excited he is to go ahead and face that.
Excited for us because we know we've established that trust with Coach Reese and Coach Freeman to run the ball when we need to run the ball. So we kind of huddle and keep calling, similar run play, or to call the same run play again. It kind of gets you going a little bit in the huddle, and makes you want to execute even harder.
You guys haven't played as well at home as you have on the road. How did you guys fix that and make this a similar effort to what you guys have been able to do on the road?
Yeah, I think it's what Coach Freeman was talking about, just having that urgency ever since the Stanford game, and we've been practicing that way. Coming out to the games like that now, and really just we got to know us from the very jump. As soon as we wake up Saturday morning, we're rolling. It's not, you don't wait till you come out of the tunnel or pregame or end of the first quarter. When you wake up Saturday morning, you got to be ready to roll.
Better sense of urgency for big games. Got to be ready to roll. Marcus Freeman said his team was ready on Monday. He's like, we're ready. They're ready. Like, if we had to go out in the alley today, let's go. You love hearing that from your coach. You love hearing Jared Patterson talking about the sense of urgency throughout the team and the program and how that's been a change. As soon as we wake up, don't wait till we get to the stadium. Don't wait until we get to breakfast table. Be ready to go as soon as you wake up. Whether or not they can execute that and get a dub is yet to be seen. But once again, you're happy to hear that coming from one of your captains.
Super happy to hear that coming from one of your captains, just because, if it's coming from the captain, it's coming from the team. So you get a sense of the locker room. It feels good to be out there. It feels good for them to feel like it's like Marcus Freeman is the general and they taking the right orders and they following them. And I think the energy that exists on the team and the charisma and what's building is an essence when you're on the team that, okay, we can't just be lacking and slacking. We got to still be tight and suited and booted when it's time to go, because it doesn't quit. Our schedule doesn't get any easier, and that's the life of a Notre Dame football player. It's like we're rock stars. We're traveling. The competition only gets harder, tougher environments, tougher games, and the stakes are high. So you're going to have a high level, high quality coach, a guy that stays calm in the uneasy waters of college football, like Marcus Freeman has been doing. And we've taken our bumps and bruises, but I'm telling you, it's something about a coach that can convince a team to respond to tougher challenges the week after having some devastating losses. I think is something that will stand the test of time and be, called upon in games like this. A game like this, I don't feel like we don't have the mental, psychological edge. Even though Dabo's doing his best to try to gas us up, I think he's absolutely right about what we have, though. And I think having that confidence in what Marcus Freeman is putting out there, along with what the team believes in, I think this is a better feeling that I've had in our Clemson games. And with a win, I do feel like it'll be a rivalry, because we'll feel like it's a rivalry. They're not just telling us, but we'll feel like it as well.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman knows it's a big weekend on the field. He knows how huge it is with all the big-time recruits coming in. And he just met with the media. I believe he's just wrapping up. And he kind of talked about that, Left, and he shared that with the media when he spoke about that. Let's check it out.
The things that it takes to play well. And no matter who the opponent is, we have to truly focus on what it takes to deserve victory, what it takes to really be able to execute throughout the entirety of a game. And we can't let the opponent dictate our ability to focus on that and our ability to execute. So, unfortunately, if you look at, some of the previous losses and some of the poor performances that, have they been higher ranked teams? No. But as I tell our players, it's about continuing to improve, and it's about making sure this Saturday that we're performing at a high level, and that's all we really want to focus on. The things that it takes to play well. And no matter who the opponent is.
So, man, look, that was Coach Freeman talking about this Saturday's matchup against Clemson. He met with the media. I'm interested in seeing his face. They usually show him right before they run on the field. He took a deep breath when they showed him getting ready to come into the JMA Dome, leading them on the field for the Syracuse game. How do you think he's going to be feeling walking to that stadium to face Clemson on Saturday night?
I think he'll be a lot more confident. He's at home. He's in his own skin, just coming off a great victory. I don't think he's intimidated by the challenge, because he's a player as well. I think if anything, he would be hyped up for a game like this. Top matchup, excited to go out there. So I think that this would be perfect for Marcus Freeman to present himself on the college football stage as a coach that's didn't get hired. He got hired because he was the right fit. Not because it was the right time, but because he's the right coach for it. And this is a chance to prove he was right for the job. They was right about making a hire. So I'm excited to see him make that happen.
So that was about the video I played was about them playing to that competition. I'm sorry about that. Now, this is what he said about the number of recruits that are going to be at the game.
The recruits now take official visits during the summer, and before they ever get a chance to experience what a game day is like here, especially in South Bend. And so we want all the kids that come here on campus to really experience to have a great experience, but also understand that this is what takes place at Notre Dame. And again, the other part of that is making sure that we put on a good performance for them, and we execute on the game field.
So, man, that is Marcus Freeman talking about, as we said before, the best thing in recruiting is what you put on the field. You can text, you can phone call, you can sell the parents, you can do all of that. What matters most is what you show on that football field week in and week out. That's the best recruiting tool for any program.
100%. Definitely the best recruiting tool for any program is winning and people like winning. Recruits like winning. That's how Alabama started this hot trend because they started winning. And I think it all comes full circle when you can get in that area where you can put yourself in a position where winning can take care of a lot. I'm not saying it makes you lazier in recruiting, but you getting that phone call picked up a lot faster.
I think we have a super chat we need to get to, bro. And it comes from, I got Milton Fan, 15, MZ. Who was your quarterback coach and how important was he?
So I had Matt LaFleur, I had Sanford, I had Chuck Martin, and they're very important. I think it was important because I took a lot of time to go after learning and really engaging and understanding what offense was just schematically and in general and what they like to do, and got a chance to pick up on different things from each one of them. One's a head coach, one's still the quarterback coach in Colorado, and one's a head coach in the league. So 3 guys I really got a good chance of picking up a ton from in just football awareness and understanding. So, and as a quarterback coach, just even hearing the different stories of quarterbacks they work with that were really good. Matt LaFleur worked with Robert Griffin at the time in Washington. He worked with Matt Ryan a lot. He worked with some guys in Cleveland as well. So his experience, he was around Kirk Cousins when he was in Washington. So his stories of how they practiced, what they did, how they read things, and just the in and outs, and just even things like, I'll never forget, Matt LaFleur was telling us in practice how quarterbacks in the NFL don't miss practice throws. Like those are all 100 for 100 pretty much. Now I knew they wouldn't be 100 for 100, but I understood what he meant. Like there wasn't no missed throws, just like in the NBA practice, there's not a lot of missed shots. So I think that little information stuck with me on just how to practice and what's the expectation. And those are the important things that you get from a quarterback coach, because a lot of the time they have the time to talk to you. All my offensive coordinators during that same time, it's like they just so busy, man. You're like, yeah, you talk to them, but it's like they don't have time to break down everything because you're in between periods of practice. They're planning for practice outside of that. They're traveling for recruiting and this and that. They got meetings every 5 minutes. So quarterback coaches, you get a chance to really, get in there early with or stay after a little later, depending on who it is.
That's a great question. We appreciate that, Milton Fan 15. That's interesting, bro. And the lack of, Tommy taking on both roles and not even having an offensive analyst on the staff, tends to lean towards why we might see some of the fundamental deficiencies at the quarterback position when it comes to yesterday. Tommy talked about footwork and only 2 true misses. And I was looking at a 50% completion percentage of 23 for 47, 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in the last 2 games. And I'm like, I understand you're trying to simplify it, but that's a little bit more than just 2 misses against UNLV, 2 true misses. It's like, I know it's a team game, but come on, man, we have to be a little bit better if we're going to check that out and analyze it. It's like, you have to apply pressure to Drew Pine. Like, yo, it's time for you to step up, but at the same time, it's your job to make him feel comfortable, whether it's a play call or whether it's getting him fundamentally sound and ready to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately we have to take extra time to get a guy prepared that's not prepared out the box. Not that he needs to be prepared out the box, but at Notre Dame, we would love if we had a guy out the box, and not have to go through the labor of reading the instruction manual, getting all the little pieces and putting it all together. And then you take about 3-4 hours, you take a break, you watch TV or something, you come back. We would love something that we just pop out the box, boom, we get busy with. But not having that, you're gonna have to take those steps. And I think when you do that, you get to see the development grow over time, this, that, and the third, and you get to where you want eventually.
Lucky Lefty Podcast, the climb to 3,000. It's all because of you, LL Nation. We appreciate you. Share, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Let everyone know, Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different, and we are inspired to talk Notre Dame football each and every day a different way because of you. And shout out to Mike Bernardino for that footage of the Zoom call with Marcus Freeman on today's show. Fantastic move. We usually get your 3 keys today left, but because it's a night game, we're going to push your 3 keys back to tomorrow. So you work on those. So tomorrow's show, Malik's 3 keys and the white sheet. What's the first scripted plays going to look like? What plays is Malik going to script to take advantage of an aggressive Clemson defense on Saturday? Be here so you can check it out. We spin it different. You know what time it is.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty.
Well, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic Petty Junction?
Petty Junction, pettiest story of the day, brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com, and Premium American Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. You got anybody on the petty train today, bro?
The Kyrie thing's pretty petty and made the man. It's just, But I think that whenever you get a bunch of resistance to something, it's probably you on the edge of something really important that you need to be continuing to press on. But I think it needs to come in bigger forms with more people, because I think watching individuals just get worked the way they do as a response to things. I mean, I think everybody needs a little bit backup. So, it's a lot of petty stuff going on here. I think, it's a sensitive culture we got out here. Can't say nothing no more. So, maybe sticks and stones, we need to go back to that, breaking some bones, and words never hurting us.
You know what the craziest thing, and I really don't want to get into it because, people have a way of attaching us discussing something that somebody else said and then attaching it to us as far as they said this. I'm not falling in that trap. What I will say is that we have to be really careful, man, because the NBA can make him apologize. They can make him give money to hate organizations or organizations that fight against hate. That doesn't change what he believes. It doesn't change what he believes and what he does. And man, all these publications that are posting pictures, man, of takeoff and laying on the ground. And look, man, at what point do we respect life itself and the feelings of families? How? How? I see. You try to allow people to be a part, and people want to be jerks, bro. I don't have time for Joe Long. But go ahead. Come on, we got to be better. We got to be better, bro. We just have to be better as a society.
What he said. What he say?
I blocked him, man. He always claims that, I just regurgitate what he says in the chat. Like he's some type of expert or something. Like
everybody's an expert on the internet, man. You know this. We all are on experts on the internet. So maybe that's petty. Maybe the internet gave it.
I know he can't do what I do. I know that. Can't produce. He doesn't have the contacts. He can't book like me. He can't talk like me. He can't build like me. I'm me. So he should do him. That's it. Everybody. That's the theme of today's show. Do you.
Do you. Hey, that's the
it's greatness on the inside of everybody. Do you.
Show. Do you, baby.
Do you. Don't hate. Just do you. Do you. Shout out to the Houston Astros on that no-hitter, too. The combined no-hitter. That was pretty dope. I actually watched it, the 8th and 9th inning.
Oh,
that was really dope to watch. That was a historical moment. The only other no-hitter or actually perfect game was Don Larson. That was dope. That was dope to watch. Lucky Lefty podcast, man. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Once again, game predictions, Malik's 3 keys, and the white sheet. What's going on the white sheet? It's blank right now, but what is he going to write on it for tomorrow to set up a Clemson? Because he already told us. You already told us you're going to be aggressive early, Left.
That's right.
So I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Lucky Lefty podcast. Have a great Thursday. Most of all, make sure you spend it different.